Good day to you. My name is Edwin Patterson. Today is the fourth video on the topic of Joseph Smith running for president of the United States and how it caused a direct link to his death. Not a circuitous, direct link to his death. Now, the question is, did you know he ran for president? You probably have heard that. Was he serious? Did he have a plan? Did he have a platform? Did he have advertising? Did he have what? Did he have? Or was he just putting his name out as kind of a frivolous thing? So, quoting from the book by that I've quoted before, The Death of the Prophet, by LeGrand Baker, who's a doctor of history, Joseph was definitely serious. And here's why he was serious. There's two alternatives that are going to happen, in his opinion. If you remember, in 1840, he went back east to see Congress and the president. He asked for redress for what happened in Missouri, and he put a price tag on it. $2-3 million was lost by being shoved out of far west. The Congress and the president said, your cause is just, but we can do nothing for you. Joseph was discouraged. He was told, this is a states' right issue. Go back to the state of Missouri. Ask them for redress. They owe it to you, not us. And think about Joseph. He knows the condition in Missouri. The governor of Missouri has an extermination order out for Mormons. He will kill. If Joseph goes to Missouri, he's dead. He knows it. There is no redress. So he thinks, well, shoot. What do we do? The politicians of the day are not going to help me. Governor Ford of Illinois is sympathetic to a point, but he will also be responsible for Joseph's death. So they're not getting any great favors from him, though they're on a speaking basis. He knows the governor well. He's been asking for this and that. And I'll get more detail on that a little later on. So they either have to leave America, let's go west somewhere, so they can be free to live the lives they want to live, or they have to have enough power to control the circumstances around them. So in February of 1844, that's 4 months, he's going to be killed. He announces, I'm running for president of the United States. The two newspapers we already talked about. The Warsaw Signal sends out, oh, this is stupid. This is a crazy man. This has no value at all. He's worthless. The Times and Season goes out to the many newspapers around America and says, you should consider this because this man is different. So, did Joseph have a platform? Did he say, this is how I'm running, this is why I want you to elect me? I never even asked the question. I didn't know. But he had a very definite platform. He and some of his friends wrote a 12-page proclamation. It is elegant. And he has 5 reasons why people should vote for him. They're all based on his own experience, but they are practical. It's called The View, and it's printed in small numbers to begin with and more numbers as they go on, and I'll get more into that in just a bit. So, in The View, the 5 propositions, this is the platform Joseph Smith is going to run. So he's deadly serious. He's not going, just throw my name out there to kind of smoke and mirror people. He's ready to run and be elected. Okay, let's find out what the proposition is about. This is on the last page of the 12 pages of The View. Number 1. When people petition to abolish slavery in the slave states, I would do all honorable means to have their prayers granted and give liberty to the captive by giving the Southern gentleman a reasonable equivalent for his property, that the whole nation might be free indeed. Now, he'd even thought about how they would fund this. So they would sell public land, and they would take that money, give it to the slave owner. So this slave is worth X amount. Here's the money for him. and free all slaves. That's number one in terms of what's going on with him. That's Joseph's most important top proposition. Certainly a fiery one at that point in time. So this is 44. The revolution or the Civil War doesn't start until 1860. So we got 16 years to go. But the slave states versus the free states was an issue then, will continue to be an issue until it boiled over into the Civil War. So number one. Number two, when people petition for its national bank, I will use my best endeavors to have their prayers answered and establish one on a national principles to save taxes and make them the controllers of the ways and the means. Now, you may be aware of this. Joseph got nailed when he was early on up in Ohio with the banking system of America. It faltered. It caused the money to shift and be worth less. He started his own, I set up my own money. We'll figure a way out of this. That failed. People left the church in droves because they were mad at him. He was upset with the government. Shouldn't we have some stability? So the second premise of his presidential run was a national banking system that gives us consistency and will give consistency to the banks, that we don't have banks go up and down or in and out of business because there's a protector over all of them. Interesting. The third, when people petition to possess the territory of Oregon or any other contiguous territory, I would lend the influence of a chief magistrate to grant so reasonable of a request. He's for growth. America goes to the Pacific Ocean, which was kind of interesting. He also says, my voice would come, yea, come Texas, come Mexico, come Canada, come all the world under the umbrella of America. So he's a big thinker, not just the contiguous United States that we have today over to the Pacific Ocean. Bring Mexico in, bring Canada in, bring anyone who wants to come. We will welcome you all under the guise of the United States of America. So again, he's not thinking small thoughts. He has big thoughts. What else is coming? Here's a very interesting one, the fourth plank of his proposition. Abolish the cruel custom of prisons, except in certain cases, penitentiaries and court-martials for desertion, and reason and friendship reign over the ruins of ignorant and barbarity. I would, as a universal friend of men, open the prisons. Open the eyes, open the ears, open the hearts of the people. And behold and enjoy freedom, unadulterated freedom. So the prison system was upside down. It confined people. Joseph's saying, turn them into the centers of learning. Teach these men how to govern themselves, how to earn money themselves. Interesting. Very, very forward for his day. That was not a norm out there. And then the fifth. And God, who once cleansed the violence of the earth with a flood, whose Son laid down his life for the salvation of all of his fathers given him out of the world, and who had promised that he would come and purify the world again with fire in the last day, should be supplicated by me for the good of the people. So something he did not see when he went to Washington, D.C. was politicians who believed in God. He saw politicians who believed in politics. So here you have a man who's saying, this is what I think. He published it, and it went out to all the papers. The whole 12 pages was printed. Now get this, and this is very interesting. At that time, this is in February of 1844. He's going to die in June of that year, so just a few months later. They set up a council of 50. Now these included apostles, regular members of the church, and non-members. They had two main goals. Number one goal, you find out, Council of 50, where we should move. If we have to move out of the United States, where do we go? We go to Oregon, we go to California, I don't know. Somebody do the research and tell me where we got to go. We got to get out of America. Or I will run for president and I will win and bring righteousness to this country. So you, Council 50, I need you to back me up. And what they did was amazing. I never heard any of this. This Council of 50 looked where all of the areas were out there were Mormon contingents in America. And every one of them was assigned. They took out this new printed view of Joseph Smith, the platform for his running of presidency, and they were assigned to one of those groups. And they would go and they would hold conventions. They would hold gatherings. They would hold rah-rah sessions for Joseph Smith. This was going on throughout the country. I didn't know that. Joseph was absolutely desirous of winning the presidency. Now, was it reasonable? A reasonable man would say no. But what the antis saw was a group that was very powerful because the group seemed to vote in mass rather than be splintered. Now, the next video is going to talk about the power of the Mormon vote and what it meant to America. And now we bring in the Electoral College. We bring in the states' rights versus federal rights. So these are all political things that are going on. And the antis are going, we're going to stop this. That man, he may not be president this year, in 1844. But look at what's happening in Nauvoo. Thousands of people are coming in every month. We can't have them be so strong that Joseph might win in 48. We'll stop this now. So, more to come, but that's a very interesting situation where Joseph had an actual platform to run on, 5 tenets that he believed in, and a group of people that were promoting him throughout America. Would he have won in 44? Probably not. But there's no strong candidate out there at that point in time. And in his opinion, they were all unworthy because the basis has to be a man of God who's going to run this righteously for the people, not for themselves. Well, interesting times. So now we're going to get into how this political bent is going to affect Joseph and the antis that will lead to his death in Carthage in just a few short months. Thanks so much. See you soon.